New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And hello again.
Hey.
Rev Briz over here.
Rev
Z right here.
Rev Pjae over here.
And this is Ministers Talking Shit. Happens on Friday morning, 7 a.m. on the Mountain Time Zone. We are so grateful that you are with us. And yes, we have a special guest with us all the way from, I always want to say Houston, but that's not right.
Fort Worth, baby.
It's
Fort
Fort
Worth.
From Fort Worth, Texas, Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley. Good to see you, Dr. Pjae.
Good to be seen.
Glad you're with us. All right, folks, we don't really know where to start this morning other than to show you this because, I mean, this is the, I think we've agreed this is Donald Trump's go ahead, try me face. The tricky part is that's his mugshot. Now, how many times do you see a mugshot where they let the guy wear a tie and a suit?
It's just unbelievable.
Seriously.
Unbelievable. All we need now is just that information going across his chest, and then that'll be the perfect picture.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have a little clipboard.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I picture him giving that look to a guard on Rikers Island or something.
Yeah,
not going to work.
Not at all. No.
But folks, if you haven't been following the news, former disgraced President Donald Trump was indicted in Florida this week, and that is his. Or sorry, in Georgia. That is his. Yeah, Georgia. That is his mugshot. He and his buddies, including Rudy Giuliani and a number of others, have been arraigned now on 19 different felonies. And here's the crazy part. This is the part that blows my mind. I didn't watch the Republican debate, but what I've heard and what people are reporting is that when the Republican field was asked if they would still support Donald Trump if he is convicted of any of these 19 felonies, 6 out of the 8 raised their hand and said, yeah, I'm still with him. Even if it is proven he is a felon and that he attempted to subvert the outcome of the 2020 election, they're gonna stand behind him.
It's incredible. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So it says to me right now that where are the people that we vote for that's actually looking out for the people? How do you say that hiring a felon, that having a felon, a convicted felon, we don't even allow convicted felons to vote, and now we want to say that we have a convicted felon for president? You'd vote for this guy? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
It's hard to get a job at McDonald's if you're a felon.
Hello. And now we want to make this guy a president. So what's happened to the political parties looking out for the people? The people are nowhere in sight, as far as they're concerned, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
No, the political scene has now become the playing field of those that have somehow squeezed power, squeezed money, squeezed material, and now it's dividing and jockeying to see who's at the top of the heat.
Correct.
Right. And if I can get something to pull you down so I can supplant you, that's because, you think about some of these politicians have been in these positions for 30 years, right?
Yes.
They are so out of touch with what the young people are facing, what the common person is facing. They
Hello?
have no way of even presenting issues or arguing points that make any sense anymore.
Or seem to even care. They don't even seem to care. Because think about it. I mean, if you want to know what the people are thinking, go talk to the people. You don't even want to be around us. You don't want to even be around the people. It's not that hard to know what we want. We're pretty vocal about it. You're not even interested though. You're so far away from what the nation actually needs as as a body of people. You don't care. You don't care. So that's what that proves to me. I'm going to raise my hand because I want to be on the inside with Trump, and wherever he goes, I don't want to get on the outside. So I'm going to raise my hand. It's not about what you think is right or wrong anymore.
And the crazy thing about it is, for them to assume or confirm that he has that much power that you're willing to give up
Yes.
everything, because at some point he won't be in the position he's in for whatever reason. Then when the pendulum, as you were saying, starts to swing back, where are you going to be in relationship to that?
Correct. And what we talk about in New Thought all the time is, what the heck do you stand for? No matter what's going on out there, stand for what you stand for. And it looks like they don't stand for anything but me. Just whatever I need to stay in power, that's all I care about. That's not a value. That's not a goal. Come on now. What are you? My God.
Well, there's the whole concept of the shadow, and now the shadow is running things, right?
Yes.
The shadow used to be a small part of every personality that we had to wrestle with.
Correct.
But now the shadow has taken over, and the real person is the little thing in the background.
I completely concur, Z. It's just outshouted who we really are supposed to be here on the planet. Who actually really are. We seem to forget that.
In many ways, that is the downfall of democracy in 2016. When we first elected this guy, it suddenly became, and I think we were headed that way anyway. The politics of personality was leading us down this road already, but he just really amplified and put his foot on the gas and made it okay to be an asshole.
I mean, what he was doing to Hillary during the convention, just basically just mad dogging her, just getting up on behind her and just daring her to say anything. She's like, get the fuck off of me. What are you doing?
Well, you think about the whole attack and approach that he took to Obama.
Oh my God.
It's like, I don't know or care if any of this is true. I'm gonna throw enough chum in the water,
correct,
and let the sharks come sort it out, right?
Exactly.
And that's what he did. The birthday and this thing and that thing, and he has done that. That's the tactic he's used on everything. He cuts all these subterfuges so that you don't focus on the main issue.
Right.
And then before you know it, something done slipped through the crack that's more important than anything you were chasing, and you can't do anything about it. That's what happened with all these judges that he has now on the court. He created so much stuff, nobody really paid attention or got real serious, and then now the whole court is stacked.
Yes, it is. And that's a scary thing. It's absolutely a scary thing. So you're exactly right. And so, what happened to the parties, not just the Republican Party, but just the parties in general, it's all about keeping the party in power and not really about the people themselves and how do we best help the people. Because if that was the case about how helping the people, he wouldn't be able to do all the things he's been able to do and all he did during his presidency, because it was all about keeping the party intact, even though they knew he wasn't doing the right thing. They knew that, but it's about the party. And I'm not just saying the Republicans, I'm saying all the parties do that. It's no longer about the people. And I don't know, it's been a long time that it has been about the people.
Yeah.
I
want to tag on to something Z just said, because in many ways he has become sort of that court jester that draws our eye away from where we can make a difference and draws our attention and draws our energy away from where we can make a real impact in the politics and the future of where the country's going. And before the show, Z, I think before you got here, PJ and I were talking, and she introduced me to this group that I didn't even know about, Moms for Liberty. And we did a little bit of looking. The Southern Poverty Law Center calls them a far-right extremist group. They consider themselves the saviors of American education. And what is basically happening here is this group has organized themselves. And if you look at their website, they got chapters. They've even got a few chapters here in Colorado. They've got chapters all over the country where they are influencing school boards.
Yeah. Yes.
And in some cases, it would appear outright bullying school boards to strip any sort of equity language out of curriculum, to push a far right agenda on our school kids. And they're doing it by claiming the liberals are pushing a far left. So the far right is screaming that the far left has gone too far. But it's at the point where the biggest argument really is within our school boards right now.
Correct. And they're going after the teachers unions as well for how they hire and who they hire.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's incredible to me. And as I was sharing with Robert earlier, I'm thinking, you know what? The easiest way to shut them down, which is not going to happen, but the easiest way to shut them down is let them be in school and teach for a while. Let you because it's all easy. It's all good for you to stand outside and talk about what other people are doing wrong, but stand in their shoes for about a minute and teach those children that are the children of those parents right now, talking about what you don't have to listen to, what you don't have to do, and try to teach those kids in school. Let's see you do that. Let's see you teach your own kids for about a week. You'll come screaming.
You know, the one of the challenges, there are many in the educational system, but one of the, my two youngest kids went through Montessori school, and this is not a Montessori commercial.
No.
But there's one thing about that model where they work in groups and they have multiple grades in the classroom. You get a couple of things. One, you take the competition out, right? So you have people, they learn to work collaboratively. They learn to work on their own when they need to, but they learn to work collaboratively. They learn to help others. They learn how to be helped. If somebody's better in math and you're better in reading. The other part of it is that they begin to understand autonomy from a whole different reference point, right? And there's a sense of service within that. But now the educational system is competition, and they're trying to figure out how to get up. Whereas that's only going to create the same system we have now. That's what the political systems and this educational system is. We have to find a better way to teach, to take some of the competition. We want people to strive, but not at a malicious level. And that's what we've created.
And and to your point, Z, if you have a problem with the system and the teachers and all that, then why aren't you talking with the teachers instead of acting like you already know? Because this is a group, they have been with our children from the moment classes have begun. So you think they have some years of information and experience about how to educate children and what needs to be. And yes, I'd love to see parents involved, but you're not the teacher, and you're not there every single day. No, I know how I was. You see how loud I am right now with you guys. This is how I was at school. Can you imagine?
But I imagine when you were in school, your parents back to your teacher would come in and would at least look at the situation from the teacher's side and would say, you're right. My child's a little out of control here. My child needs a little reining in. My child needs a little more something to fit into this system.
That is correct.
That's not how it happens.
No, and knowing that my parents and my teachers were talking kept me in check.
Right.
I couldn't just tell my story. Right? Weave any story I wanted to tell. Because my mom or the teacher was going to call me. I'm calling Billie Jean. That's my mom's name. I'm calling Billie Jean. Oh, okay. All right.
I'm good. Yep. Yeah. So today, parents come in the door with guns blazing, sometimes literally, saying, "Why are you reprimanding my child? How dare you
Yeah,
do
because
your
you don't seem to have
job.
the balls to recommend them. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, and you know the other thing is, one of my best friends is he's retired now. He was a principal, and he's just gone back now as a consultant, if you will, at this new high school. And he went in and he told, they were in a meeting. He said, I talked to him the other day and they were just getting ready to start, and they were saying about all the academic and curriculum, and they got to him and they said, okay, now look, when y'all want an academic issue, y'all call Dr. So-and-so right over there. She's the best. She's best. She can handle it. Now, but if you got a problem with a parent, or if you got somebody that needs some understanding the communication level, I'm your man, because that's what's really missing. We have academicians that understand these curriculums, that understand the science, the math, the reading. But what we don't have is someone that is a communicator, someone that is a relationship builder, someone that knows, has been in the system long enough and understand, like, look, you can say everything you want. Little Johnny is a terror, okay? And
let's just claim that, all right?
And we on your side. We want to help little Johnny be better, but you got to help us. Now, if you don't help us, God help us all.
Yeah.
we transitioned from the we're all in this together to it's us versus.
Correct.
It's the us and the other.
It is.
And that to me is the toughest place, because we're all in a movement that's trying to build a just and equitable society that works for all,
right?
Rather than just what works for me,
right?
And I want to say hello to Linda real quick. Good morning, Linda. Linda's regular viewer, and she says we must remind ourselves that each of us is in control of where we place our attention. Our focus matters. Absolutely, Linda.
Yes.
And when I get a phone call from school, it's not that I'm here to make my child wrong, and it's not that I try to jump down my kid's throat saying, "What did you do? How dare you do that?" It's that opportunity for everyone to come together and say, "Okay, what's not work? What's fallen out of place? What's out of alignment?
Right.
How do we bring this whole thing, what you want in curriculum, what I want for my child, what my child wants for them?" And that's often the place where I think folks on our side see it. We recognize our kids are independent people, and we want to support them in their journey.
Correct.
Where what I see from more of the conservative side, they're trying to conserve that perspective of this kid is mine, and I'm going to mold this child into an image of me, or an image of what I couldn't accomplish and am wounded about not accomplishing in my life. And I'm trying to mold this human into what I want, rather than saying, hey, how do I support the natural expression of life that this child is bringing forward?
And that is such an expanded view of parenting. Yes. It's an expanded view of parenting. That is exactly what parenting should be about. It should be about the child. And it looks like it's becoming about the parent. And how dare you with my child? It's my child. It's mine.
Yes. And there was this concept that was at my kid's school that I loved. And that was, it's kind of legalistic, but it was great. A contract, right? So at the beginning of the week, because there were some kids who may have been advanced in math and behind in reading, right? And so to teach the kids autonomy and to teach them about choice and consequences, they would sit down and create a contract and say, okay, we know reading is not your favorite, but you have to complete 3 units of reading, and you can complete 10 units. I don't care what you complete math, but you got to do certain math, and they laid it all out. But these certain things to get you at the level you need to be, or keep you at the level you should be, and advance where you need. We're going to do a contract. If this contract is not completed at the end of the week, and it was between parent, child, and teacher, we're going to make adjustments.
That is exactly correct. And I heard a thing the other day, and I just loved it. And it was talking about marriage, and it said it's not about love and all that kind of stuff. He said the thing is, it's about the contract that you agree to do certain things, and a contract is strong. I used contracts when I was working with juvenile delinquents, when I was counseling, and they knew exactly what they had to do to get where they said they wanted to go. And if they didn't do those things, it was no surprise when they didn't get there. And then we just readjusted and said, all right, what are we willing to commit to again this week? I completely agree, Z. I think those contracts are fantastic. And we all actually are in spoken and unspoken contracts all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just flashed on the fact that I'm glad I was never a juvenile delinquent. And you were my counselor, because I'd be scared to death to walk in and tell you I didn't, like, don't go tell PJ you didn't do it. You get your shit done and get it done in time, because you don't want to answer to that lady. She's gonna rip you apart if you're out of line, man. You get in line right now.
Go in there and try to, hey Robert, you try to hedge your best. Well, I'm working on it. That's the best.
That's all I ask.
But we joke, folks, but it is important, because this is a key to really all of life. We have to teach our kids how to create commitment, how to create agreement, how to stay in alignment with that. Unfortunately, most places you look in society, the news, if you will, or the media, if you will, or whoever, we like to promote the sensational. We like to point out where things are breaking down. We like to point out where it isn't working, rather than, as our friend Linda says, put a little focus on what is working and where things are happening. It can be really difficult to find those stories, and especially around politics and the culture war. And people say, are we in a culture? We're so far into a culture war at this point that many of us don't even see it anymore.
Hello. And, speaking of, of looking at what's good, and I shared with you earlier, you said that this show is we talk about things that are in the news, and I don't really watch the news because it's just so depressing. But one thing that I do have coming to my news box once a week is called, this is not a push for them. I'm just saying, and I'm sure all kinds of things like that, but it's called CNN, The Good Stuff. And on every Saturday, there's just great stories of people helping people. And I love it. That's the news that I choose to listen to. We have a choice. We don't have to listen to sensational nonsense. And just like I was saying, I don't listen to news, and yet I knew about this story about I know about stories because the news is everywhere. I don't have to be bombarded to know news. People will share with you what's going on. The whole thing that happened. What was that with the whole? I'm sorry. The whole thing with the black guy getting beat up at the boat pier. I didn't know anything about that. Like a week later, all these little hats are being thrown up in the air, and everybody's walking around with a folding chair. I'm like, what is this about? And so, when I found out, but news comes, you'll find it out because people will tell you. But you can focus on what is good happening, because a lot of good is happening.
And one of the things that we have to, as you were saying, this polarity of life, right? Life is not static; it's a polarity. And what one of the things that we have to get better at, and I think we used to be better, but now we need to get better, is how do we stay abreast of what needs attention, but don't obsess on it, or don't accentuate it to the point to where it becomes the main thing, and finding a solution or a resolution becomes the side job.
Correct.
Right? I get more power, money, and everything out of sensationalizing this issue as opposed to trying to figure out what the resolution is.
Absolutely. And I think I go back to New Thought principles, just in terms of what is our, and anytime I'm talking to people, we talk about what is our purpose here, on life and for life. And to me, everybody, I believe, has the same purpose. And it's to live a great life and to be of service. And the only way you're going to do that is to figure out who the heck you are. You have to go in. As Linda who put that thing about focus, you have to focus inward first before you can go outward. And we're all trying to act like whatever's important is out there somewhere, but it's not. What's important is in here. And you have to figure out what this is about. And you hold to that. That's your anchor as you out in the world. So you don't get turned around and bounced around all this crazy news that's going on. You stay focused and anchored in who you are and what matters to you, family, friends, spiritual life, whatever it is.
That's
So-
the my shit don't stink theory perspective, right? Mine don't stink, but yours sure does.
Yours is, yeah,
And let me tell you how to make sure yours doesn't.
I can help you with that.
Yeah. And this is the perfect segue to say, hey, some of us need to go reevaluate the contract we've made with ourselves.
Hello.
And begin to say, I'm in violation of this contract and I owe somebody something, I'm sure. And I don't know if I can pay it. Maybe we need to renegotiate this contract to something that's more in alignment with people, with the planet, with a sincerity, with community, so that we understand that, hey, there's this saying that was used in the African American community, still is, and it says, we may have come over here on different boats, but we're all on the same ship now. And if we don't pull together, this ship will sink.
Yes, and I agree. And there are others waiting for it to sink. Seriously, looking for it to sink. And so America is supposedly the example, but we are setting a bad example at this point. We simply are.
Yeah.
So I agree. And I think back to your point, Z, also about the contract and reevaluating. Part of the thing is this, and I talk about marriage because it's one of the longest terms. Anybody who's in a long-term relationship, it's one of the longest term contracts you'll ever have with yourself and with your children, all that. But yeah, it has to be reevaluated because you get in it and you're this person, but hopefully you're growing and changing along the way.
Right.
And so what was working, what was and did work, may no longer serve. And to just reevaluate and say, let's take another look. Is this what we want? And there's nothing wrong with that. You absolutely need to do that instead of trying to make yourself hold to what you no longer are. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hopefully everybody is changing, because if I'm the same person I was 20 something years ago, that's a problem. I'm just telling you right now, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Well, and that's, I want to come back to the contract piece, because as we were sharing that, one of the things that jumped into my head is, we all kind of need a recovery movement from ourselves.
Yes.
Not to belittle the Alcoholics Anonymous and the recovery movement for addiction, but do we not actually become addicted to our own way of thinking?
We absolutely do.
That if left alone too long, if we don't have this kind of discourse, if we don't have classes, if we don't get out into the world and we isolate ourselves in our own thought,
right,
then suddenly I'm addicted to me, and I can't possibly act any differently. I've been an asshole my whole life. What am I going to do now? Right. And I've been a rich white guy my whole life. How am I ever? I've been this. And even the other direction. I've been an activist my whole life. How could I now be something new?
Yeah.
Yes. It's like you're failing yourself, or somehow you're turning away, but it's not. It's about, we all keep talking about this expansion and this growth and evolution. Yet when it happens, we don't want to claim it. It's you're evolving. That's what evolution looks like.
Yeah. Well, there's one of those wonderful cartoons out there, what do we want? Change. When do we want it? Not now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about you.
I haven't heard that one. That was funny.
I don't need to change. You need to change.
That's perfect, because that, that is the that should be the mantra right now, right? Is that, we always say, well, change begins with me, and be the change you want. But the question becomes, do you really want change, right? That's the question.
I mean, you actually have to change something. Stop doing something and do something different or new.
I think, and for me, that's where the Black Lives Matter marches of the summer of 2020 really made a shift, because there were more than enough reasons to stay home on that one. There were more health reasons. The pandemic alone was more than enough reason to say, I want change, but I don't want it that much. I'm not willing to risk my life for that kind of change.
Right.
But that's not what happened. What happened is people turned out. People wore masks in the streets. People showed up, and more than I think those were even greater than the protests following Trump's election and his inauguration, right? Those were pretty big marches in themselves. But the summer of 2020, there was that change in consciousness. There was a shift. And I think a lot of people use that as an opportunity to rewrite their own contract.
Yeah.
Say, I'm no longer going to turn a blind eye here. I'm willing to literally risk my life in multiple ways by going out in the streets and standing for what I believe.
Yeah.
So for me, there's always hope. There's always hope that we're gonna get there. That we are getting there.
Yeah.
That we are on that journey towards that life we say we want, a world that works for all.
Yeah.
Again, back to our friend Linda, my spiritual practices have become even more important to me during the chaotic conditions our country is currently experiencing.
Absolutely.
And isn't that not exactly what we teach and exactly why we practice? We practice when it's good so that the practice supports us when things are strange.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And back to go ahead. No, because I'll come back.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say, and Fiona comes right back with a way of doing that, and she says, hey, start doing some visioning about where you are and what you want to be and how you want to be it, so that you could begin to create that new contract and begin to incorporate those powerful practices that give you a better vision, a better look at the world, so that we can, make some changes.
Right. Every Sunday, as I'm talking to the members of my spiritual center, every Sunday I say the same thing, and then I tell a different story, but it's the same thing. And then it's about, practicing. You have to create a daily spiritual practice. I don't care how long it is. I don't care what you do, but it's meditation. And when I say spiritual practice, I mean prayer and meditation. Because when you need it is not the time to be doing it. The time to be doing it is prior to, and of course you need it all the time. But when you think you need it, when something emergency comes up, you have to already have that in place. You have to already know what the sound or the voice or the words of God or that which is greater than yourself, what does that sound like to you? You can't be waiting until you're in the middle of a hurricane and asking for trouble. You can be like that guy with the boat. You never get on the boat because you don't recognize that's God sending you escape from.
It's too late to
install a boat and a helicopter.
And you still, and what you doing up here? I didn't ask you to come.
It's too late to install the smoke detector after the fire done started.
After the fire,
it's like, oh,
it's a smoke detector. Yeah.
Oh God.
PJ, we got to have you on this show more often.
I love it. I love talking with you guys. This is great stuff. And as I told you, this is what I do. I talk all the time. So
definitely.
Yes. Well, we really have to. Hopefully, what we inspire here is others to have heartfelt, meaningful, and sometimes passionate conversation to get what needs to be got on the table so we can look at it.
You have to look at it.
And again, if I'm addicted to my own thinking, I'm never going to see a different perspective until I get together with some trusted folks and bitch about the government for a little while. And get my complaining out. Because all those is my false perception.
Yes.
All those are beliefs that I've taken on for one reason or another, maybe even unconsciously or subconsciously taken on a belief. And I'm never going to be able to clean that if I can't speak what I hear and see. But then I have to also, and here's where I think we run into a difficulty. far too often people are already creating their response, are already imagining, now you're wrong, I can't believe that, my beliefs won't let me believe that, rather than truly being in that place of deep listening that says, wow, we are on very different perspectives on this topic, and I can't say that I'm any more right or wrong than you are.
Right.
So how do I explore this and figure out, am I that far wrong, or are we both a little wrong and need to come together towards a more centric perspective?
Correct. Yeah.
I believe our practices help us do that. Yes.
I think that's absolutely. And just to your point, is that I gather with a couple of friends of mine who are one of our presidents, I can't remember what his name was, Roosevelt, I think it's Teddy. I don't talk to anybody that's not in the arena. When I talk seriously, you have to already be in the arena. You already are doing this work. And so I have a couple of friends that I get together with no less than once a month, where we challenge each other's thinking. They definitely challenge mine. What do you mean by that? Why is that true for you? How could it look different? So we're just not just rolling over the same conversations. We challenge each other's conversation thoughts and feelings, and well, what if you looked at it this way or that way? So I highly recommend that you have friends that will challenge what you're saying and what you're thinking, not just accept it like, oh my God, you're so bright. That's what your congregation is for. So, they're also challenge your thinking as well. So
yeah. Perfect. I love it. Folks, if you wonder what you stumbled into here today, this is Ministers Talking Shit on the New Thought Media Network. It happens every Friday morning. And I'm going to do a couple of quick shameless plugs because we've been talking about it. Number one, we're talking about the visioning process, and you can learn more about that and join us every Monday morning for that practice right here on New Thought Media Network. And we talked a bit about the good news, and I would be remiss if I didn't remind us that tonight at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, it is time for the good news. I do a half hour of good news stories on Friday evenings, kind of an opportunity to kick us off and move us into the weekend from that good perspective, from that belief that, hey, there is still people doing good out there in the world. And as I've now learned, if you want, you can Saturday mornings, you can catch the same kind of concept. And then, I want to say that I do find more and more outlets, media outlets, that are sharing good news. It's buried on the back pages, and it sometimes takes a little while to find, and it's not as they don't stay on top of the good news as they do the other stuff sometimes. But that's going to be my challenge for you this week as we get ready to wrap up here, is when you see those stories that make you go, what? Find one that makes you go, yeah, right on. Keep digging in the media till you find those stories that remind you there are good people doing good things. There are, we are working towards a world that works better for everyone. And some of these orange-haired anomalies will go away if we stop giving them attention.
Yeah, and I want to say that I hold to what Martin Luther King said, and I think he got it from someone else. Doesn't matter, because the words still work. And I hold to that and hold that as truth when he says that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it trends upward. Yeah. So while we may see a lot of nonsense going on, we are making progress. Slow, steady progress. If we're all doing our own work. So hold to that. That is true. That's true. No, I just want to let but what is it? Because I want to send this information about visioning. So they just go to ntnetmedia.com to get on your visioning program at 6 o'clock in the morning on Mondays. Is that what you said?
Your time, Central Time, it'll be 8 o'clock. It's on YouTube and Facebook. It's our Monday morning visioning program. And I lead a live 45-minute visioning process every Monday morning. I do want to give a quick shout out. Our dear friend Fiona is with us today, and she's the one. Fiona fills in for me when I'm traveling or off in the world doing stuff. So Fiona is part of that team bringing forth the visioning process here on the network as well. So,
okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to pass this out to some folks that have been talking about visioning. That'd be great.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Z, wrap us up. Final thoughts.
There's one thing that I want to.
What happened?
Yeah, no, I was going to say there's one thing that Pjae has. I want to. challenge everyone to go start a CMP group. That CMP group is Challenge My Perceptions Group, where you meet once a week or once a month, at least once a month, to have someone challenge your perceptions. I love that. I'm gonna find me a CMP group and get one started because I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you. Excellent. Yeah.
And I want to say, and you have to go outside your normal circle of friends.
Hello. Yes.
Because your normal circle of friends are going to throw you a softball.
You really want people to really, who are just smart and brilliant and doing their own work. The people I think that's the key. When they're already doing their own work, they know to tell you the truth. If you're actually wanting to hear the truth, so you have to be ready to actually hear the truth and not want just yes people around you. So that's that part too.
And that's something you said earlier that I always love, and that for me really stuck in my head from Brene Brown, and she borrowed it from Teddy Roosevelt, right? Is, are you in the arena?
Yeah.
And because if you're not ready to get your hands dirty, if you're not ready to really look, then I've been doing this work for far too long to screw around with people that are just screwing around.
Right.
Plain and simple.
You know that there's a scene in the movie What the Bleep, right? That epitomizes that statement where the little kid gives the ball to the I forget her name, and she's getting ready to take a shot, but she's outside the court. He said, No. If you want to play this game, you have to be on the court to play. You out of bounds. You can't play.
Yeah.
And that when you want to play this game, jump on the court. We're not worried about your skills. We want to see what you can play.
Yeah, you can't be no audience member. You can't be shouting from the stands.
Well, there it is, folks. Before the censors and our sponsors kick us off the air, get out and play the game this weekend.
Yeah.
There it is. Get out, get on the court, and then be gentle with yourself when you learn something about yourself.
That too. Absolutely.
All right. We're Ministers Talking Shit. We are going to get out of here, let you get into your morning weekend. But please stay tuned on New Thought Media Network. We got a full day of programming, our normal morning lineup, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, The Joy Show, The Good News, the Fireside Chat at 6 with Reverend Michael. So much good news and so much good happening here on New Thought Media Network. We look forward to see you again real soon. Until then, we wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
Bye.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.